Have you ever been overwhelmed? Brenda sent me in an email that sparked today's idea for you and I hanging out together. And it is this: I love what the magnesium soak is doing for me. I see the benefits. I am overwhelmed with all the information about magnesium. So, we're going to talk about that today, you and I. And I would love for you to share your thoughts and ideas in the comments because you are bringing something to the table that you and I are sitting at. It's easy for me just to talk, but you're bringing something and I want you to bring it. I'd love to know your insight and that piece of connection. First off, please remember this: overwhelm is not an emotion. It is a lack of action and typically too much information gathering. So I'm just going to let you sit with that for a minute because that can be one that you have to spend a minute wrapping your brain around. I want to give you 5 strategies to help walk away from overwhelm because when you're in a state of overwhelm, the potential for you to stop what you're doing is incredibly strong. And I want to give you some action steps that you can walk away and not get overwhelmed and give up and be done. So, number 1, recognizing overwhelm is not an emotion. Understanding that, filtering everything that we're talking today about magnesium soak and overwhelm and all the information that's coming at us 24/7 a day that never stops unless we're asleep. That's what I want to talk about. And the first strategy is be choosy, be picky. I did this thing and my intent was not to hurt people's feelings. My intent was to clear up the clutter in my brain. So, is what was happening for me, my experience was the business page would follow people on Instagram. And then as I would get on the business page, I would feel torn. Oh my gosh, I want to comment on that. Oh, I want to comment on that. But I had 30 minutes of time to get done what needed to happen for the business. And so the business unfollowed everyone, everyone. And there are a few things related to health that I follow. Now, I have a personal Instagram page where I talk about my passion of being a docent to the elephant seals. I talk a lot about thrifting and the history and the things I learn, the books I read. That's on my personal page. And it doesn't stop me from taking action to scroll the feed because I'm there on my own time with no agenda. When I get online on the business feed, it's completely different. There are numerous things that have to be done in this amount of time. Now, a couple people reached out and said, Kristen, you unfollowed me. I said, follow me over here. I would love to follow you over here. The business has a very specific agenda. I had to get choosy in where my mind was going when I got on social media. And let me tell you, it has made a gargantuan difference. Gargantuan for me. That one small choice of dropping clutter from my brain. Get choosy and choose those things that will walk you away from overwhelm. The next one is identify 3 to 5 things sorry about that, identify 3 to 5 things, or maybe one thing, whatever works for your brain. I usually do 3 and then list them in order of most important to least important. And you're focusing on those things. Here's what's happening with our social media. There is content everywhere. You can go everywhere and look at the things that are great to learn. They're powerful, but it puts you in constantly learning, constantly receiving information. And creating health is about receiving health and giving other things in your life, like giving to your community, giving love to your partner, giving love to little ones around you. That give receive cycle needs to be balanced for optimal health. And if you're constantly scrolling social media, you're not balanced in your give receive cycle. And I want to ask you this question. How many recipes have you seen that you thought, I want to make that? And how many of those have you ever made? And so and I'm not saying social media is a bad thing. I love social media. I've been able to make incredible friends. Hopefully, I'll meet all of them in real life one day. Social media can be amazing, but it can add to your overwhelm. So, another thing that I do is once I've identified those items, whether it's one thing or three things or five things, I am done scrolling and finding new information. Healthy women put a boundary of stopping when they need to. If you have got the time to binge on Netflix, binge, do it. If you should be doing other things and you're binging on Netflix to avoid, that's a broken pattern. Healthy women have healthy boundaries. And if you're crossing that boundary that you've told yourself that I will I will be on social media for 10 minutes and then you're on for 30, you've broken a promise to yourself. Now, if you broke a promise to me, you would call me, "Oh, Kristen, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do this." How many times a day are you breaking promises to yourself? And when you do that, your trust bank goes down. So, for example, if you 3 times would made plans, and I've got to grab some water. My mouth's really dry. As it drips. So, if we had made lunch plans 3 different times and you never showed up for any of them, the 4th time, I'm not going to even trust you to put it on my calendar because you didn't show up. How are you showing up for yourself? Are you showing up for yourself or have you given up? Because after the 3rd time, I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we want to do lunch, but it's not happening." And so healthy women have healthy boundaries. They set that boundary for others and they set that boundary for themselves. And that is not a one and done thing. That is a journey throughout your life. And at different times, you will need different boundaries. And with certain things, you might need to adjust those boundaries. So it's not one and done, I've arrived. It's a journey, it's part of the journey called life. And so looking at those boundaries is incredibly important. Another thing is to rank the importance of the priorities that you've chosen. Now, Shelley, she's the support specialist for Living the Good Life Naturally. She is so good at this. Every time we sit down, and she's helped me to be better, which is a reminder you become like the people you hang out with. Shelley has helped me to be better with systems because she is so crackerjack. I don't know why I said that. She's so crackerjack with them. I'll have to look up why I said, like, is that a saying when I was a kid? Anyway, she's so good at them. So I'm getting better with systems and prioritizing my time because of Shelley, because I hang out with her 4 days a week. We're with each other a lot. And so prioritizing what is the most important? What is the next? What is the least important on the things that you picked out that you want to accomplish? And then healthy women let the details go. Let's say there was 100 things on your list. If you prioritize 100 things, are you ever going to get them done or accomplish them? Or be at that place of just being so happy because of what you created during the day? No, you have to pick the ones that are most important that day, that moment, that month. You focus on those and you let the details of the others go. And you trust the process that you'll get to those eventually. It's a game changer when you start doing this. Another one is you put a time limit on. Oh, if you've ever been on one of my lives, you know. Hello, Pam. How are you? So good to see your beautiful face. If you've ever been on one of my lives, you will know I am consciously working on sticking to my time limits. I just love hanging out with you and answering questions and learning from you and opening that give receive cycle. It lights me up. I've been doing it for 23 years. I love it more than I did when we started 23 years ago. I've set a boundary today. In fact, I'm going to tell you my boundary 20 minutes and we're done. Because I have a really important person walking through my home, my husband, and I want to show up for him too. And so keeping those boundaries and putting a time limit on things is so useful. For example, if you are watching Netflix and you don't want to binge or whatever other channel it is, you don't want to binge Netflix and you're going to say, I have 45 minutes. And when 45 minutes is over, I am done. One of the things we cut all of our TV in our home is the best thing we ever did. One of the things I do like to do is get on YouTube and search other people who love to thrift. And then I watch their YouTube videos and learn about what they've thrifted and what they look for and why they look for it. And I really love the history of the items that I've thrifted. And so I found a couple that love that too. And so they'll share that. I have to set a time limit. Usually it's 10 to 20 minutes and then I am done. Turn it off. It's not Netflix. It's not a paid app. We do use it. I still need to set a time limit. Now, on that time limit, I'm really good. I am open to learning how to be really good on my time limits on our lives, you and I. I'm really open to that and learning how to do that because sometimes they go an hour and a half. Who has time to watch an hour and a half live? Right? Okay. So the next thing is when you're gathering information. So, we've talked about boundaries and time limits. So let's say you are focused on magnesium cell saturation and getting to a 6.3. How long are you going to spend gathering information before you take action? Because you could research magnesium for 23 years. And if you don't add action, that means for 23 years, you're not achieving cell saturation of 6.3 with a magnesium red blood cell test by soaking in magnesium soak. And so making sure, oh, Pam, my goal is that some of these things would resonate with you. So I absolutely love that. Thank you for sharing that with me. So when we're looking at our list, then we look at stacking of functions. My husband is really into stacking of functions. He's very into permaculture. It's a very permaculture concept. It is not multitasking. So today I was multitasking with Shelly. She was sharing something with me. I was trying to finish up an email and I was taking notes on what I wanted to talk about on the lives. And guess what? I miserably failed all three things. Multitasking does not work. Do not buy into the lie. And so I said to Shelly, I need 2 minutes to finish the email. Then I need to write 2 sentences on ideas I had for the live. And then let's continue this conversation. Now, the fact that Shelly was last, did that mean that was the lowest priority? Absolutely not. It was actually the highest priority, but I wanted my head clear when we connected. I needed about 3 minutes because I was multitasking multitasking instead of stacking of functions. So stacking of functions looks like this. Today, I was working on the computer and I was following up some emails. I'd gotten a little behind on my emails and I don't like it when that happens. But I also knew I needed to soak in magnesium today. And so soaking in magnesium does not take away from the focus I was able to put on answering the emails. I could do both without taking away from each other. Where previous, my multitasking, I was writing notes, writing an email, talking to Shelly. That's taking away from being present with the very thing I'm doing. And not being present actually increases overwhelm. It increases it. So look at the things that you can do that are stacking of functions that don't take away from the other thing that you're doing. So little things that I do, for example, on all of my products in my house that can be, not my supplements, but anything in my house, a lot of my body products, there's no lid because it takes time to open, and I'm a little bit of a product junkie. It takes time to open and close those. Now, my vitamin C serum that I use on my face, I'm not going to leave that open because it will oxidize. So it's not everything, but that small function makes it easier and I can do it more quickly to get ready for the day because I did that one thing. I don't have to think about other things because I've already done it once and it doesn't need to be done morning and night when I'm taking care of my skin. So, looking at things, how can I do this one time? One time. So, being overwhelmed drives your subconscious. I want you to think about your subconscious, and I'm going to tell you my dream car. My dream car is a Mercedes 560 SL convertible, 1987. That's my dream car. Like, that's my dream car. It drives beautifully. It handles beautifully. It's vintage. That's my dream car. Think of your subconscious and it works like that Mercedes. It drives beautifully. It just flies down that road. You can choose whether the wind is in your hair, whether the top is up, versus your conscious mind, which is like rollerblades that you have to work to make the movement, like you're working it. So our subconscious mind drives most of our decisions. And we fall into our subconscious mind driving those decisions because it drives like that 560 SL Mercedes. And we can get lazy. Just like if you stop working out, your muscles deteriorate. Your brain deteriorates also when you allow your subconscious to drive it all the time. It is easier. But when you go over to the conscious mind and you're present and you're putting some mental work in, like you have to do with rollerblades, you've got to mentally watch where you're going, you've got to physically move. That stops overwhelm. And so learning how to switch between the two becomes incredibly important. So, last tip, and that is stay present with active gratitude. Everybody has a gratitude list. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my dog. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for a nice day. I'm grateful for the ocean. Da, 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 da. That's not the gratitude that stops overwhelm. The gratitude that stops overwhelm, I'm going to show you my thing. So I'm working on a French gallery wall and it's not coming together like I thought it would. And my daughter made a comment. She said, Mom, the smaller spots that are empty, you need to put an antique spoon. So I went thrifting and look what I found. I don't know if you can see that. I found these beautiful antique spoons that just fit. right in the space. They were $3 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They were $3. And they brought my gallery wall together. Look at that one with the flowers. They're so sweet. Active gratitude you experience on the inside. Now, I experience mine in my heart. You might experience yours in your body. You might experience it in your brain. I don't know. Everybody does it different. But that was active gratitude you just saw. I'm so excited about my spoons, especially this one with the little jewel. It's going to be so cute on my wall. Active gratitude stops overwhelm and keep your goal singular. If you're overwhelmed about the benefits of magnesium, determine what your goal is. And you can share mine with me if you need to. My goal is simple: magnesium cell saturation at 6.3 or above by soaking in magnesium. Soak. That's how it happens. And then once you've achieved cell saturation, you maintain it. That's what activates your vitamin D storage. I would love to know your takeaway. What was the most important thing that we talked about today, you and I, that will help you walk away from those moments that you get overwhelmed? Please share in the comments, and I would love to know what thing connected for you, because healthy women are connected women. They're connected. We connect with each other. And by doing so, when we connect, we decrease our cortisol and we increase our body's ability to hold on to magnesium. Bye. Oh, I went 3 minutes over. I did such a good job. Healthy women celebrate too. So I'm celebrating. I didn't do an hour and a half live. Those are too long. I did 23 minutes. I got so much better. Was it perfect? No. Imperfect action creates optimal boundaries. It wasn't perfect, but I did a lot better. So hoping that that helps you. Let me know which part was your favorite and which part you connected to. Have a great day.